Hello and welcome to the Movie Podcast Spoilercast for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. My name is Daniel. I am one of your hosts today, and joining alongside me are my fellow masters of the mystic arts, Anthony.
Hello.
And Shahbaz.
Hello.
Oh, fancy.
And is my saucer's voice.
What multiverse, may I ask, where are you from?
Earth 201.
201?
Yes.
It's very low on the scale.
Yes.
It's
yes.
not
One
a
of the
great...
first few Earths.
What's different about your Earth than our Earth?
We walk on our hands.
And what do you use for holding things?
Our hands.
Yeah,
we don't have feet. We have just hands and hands.
Hands and hands.
On top of hands.
Well then, okay.
But I'm going to
Wait,
let
your feet are your hands?
What? Would you just call me?
Your hands are your hands, and then your feet.
We have just four hands.
So you don't have legs, you have more arms.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 4 hands.
I don't want to go to this universe.
I don't like it. You
And
sound like a
six-
human spider.
6 genitals. I'm so sorry.
6 genitals. Are they? Where are they located?
They're all on the face.
Interesting.
all
We
on
should
the face.
destroy.
Well, I mean,
we should cause an incursion to destroy this
Not even
this
a
realm.
incursion. We should just find it and just destroy it.
Wow.
I
Genocide.
don't like things that are different from me, so I want to
Yeah.
attack it.
Well, don't worry. I'll send the other one back in now. Hello, hey guys. Hey, I'm this Shahbaz.
Welcome back, Shahbaz. How are you?
Great. It's just weird having 6 genitals on my face, but
Well,
I'm back now.
It's gone now. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Sunny day today.
Okay.
It's one of my sunny days.
Sunny day today,
Sunny
huh?
day.
So as you guessed, this is our spoiler cast, our spoiler discussion, our breakdown, our theories, our everything for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday. And watch out throughout the week for our review episodes and all the latest movies and series. If you have not heard our spoiler-free review of this film yet, please go check that out first. If you have not watched the film, go check out our initial thoughts of it. If you have watched the film and you want to hear what we thought of it coming right out of the theater, that's a great episode to listen to. You could also listen to an interview that we did with, I don't know, have you guys heard of someone named Sam Raimi?
Samuel
Raimi. Have you heard of a Michael Waldron?
Mikey Walds.
You know, they may just be the writer and the director of this film. We were so lucky to have both Sam Raimi and Michael Waldron join us to talk about everything Doctor Strange in the short time that they did have us. But hey, guess what? We could say that Sam Raimi and Michael Waldron were on the Movie Podcast. They're friends of the show now.
We can, yeah.
They're friends of the show now officially. Don't forget, you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd, and join us on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. You could also do it on Spotify, and you could join our Discord as well. And guess what? You could write us some emails at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. You could check out our show notes for all of those links and more. You're doing something cool on YouTube, Anthony. What are you doing?
I'm taking all these beautiful recordings that we do, and I'm putting them on YouTube.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. You could also write into our mailbag, and we got a great write-in this week, and I wanted to shout this out before we dive into any further into the show. We had somebody write into the show to tell us all about, what kind of makes our show special for them. So Richard Me wrote in. He actually sent us this on Twitter and said, just discovered the Movie Podcast, and I am totally addicted. I drive a semi through America, and your podcast keeps me company. Simply the best movie podcast out there today. Keep up the great work you guys are doing. And he went on to say that he actually started from the very beginning of our show, and he's making his way through it. So Richard, in I guess 2 years' time, when you eventually get to this episode, thank you so much for listening. You are the reason that we keep doing the show. It's listeners like you why we want to keep doing this.
A very, very sweet message.
Yeah.
I remember crying when I read it.
Yeah, it's just funny that it's like, man, he's
Not really crying, but
he's going all the way.
Levels.
He's going all the way back to episode 0.
It was amazing. And back when we first called ourselves a movie podcast.
Yeah, in episode 2, he's like, hold on, what show is this?
Like, I unsubscribed.
What episode are you guys looking forward for Richard to be hitting? He said he's in the 2020s right now, so he's already made it through the first year of shows.
Yeah. Well, now he gets to finally listen to some of our interviews, because we didn't really start interviews until 2020.
We did, yeah. So we'll get to our very first interviews with Kevin Lima and all those people.
Those people.
There's a lot. He's getting to the best years of the show. How about you, Anthony? Anything you're looking forward to?
I don't know.
What show is this? The Movie Podcast?
I don't have a good memory of things, but anyone where I make a funny comment or quote is
Yeah, those are good ones.
Is good. So that's pretty much all the episodes.
Hopefully
right?
he gets to the peanuts,
Yeah, the Peanuts, Mr. Peanut episodes. Yeah, he's there because I think that was I think Super Bowl time in 2020.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably like hovering around there. Richard, thank you so much for your message, and of course, if you wanted to write into the show, there's lots of ways you could do it. You could send us an email at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca, or you could follow us on any of our socials to just DM us there. Speaking of following us on our socials, though, we have something really cool lined up, and this is the first time we're doing something like this. So I just want to take a second to give the official word, and then we can talk about it.
The word of the Lord.
The word of the Lord. So, the Bob's Burgers movie.
Oh,
that's it's a movie coming out very soon. A small movie. You may have heard of it. It's a show that's been on for like 10 plus years. We are so excited to be partnering with our friends at Walt Disney Studios Canada to give away passes for you and a friend to see an advanced screening of the film on Wednesday, May 25th. Now, you may be wondering, how can I enter this wonderful contest? Now, when you're listening to this episode, we will have a Bob's Burgers post giving you all the entry rules on our socials. So on Twitter and on Instagram, you'll be able to check it out and see how you could enter. We were asking you to name your favorite character from the Bob's Burger show. Very simple, very easy to do. If you want to email us as well, you can do that. So hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca if you want to send to us via email. But yeah, we are directing you right now to Instagram and on Twitter. Comment your favorite character, and then we will choose somebody randomly by Monday the 23rd. That's when our chance to win closes. We will let you know if you are victorious or not, and we will send you passes because the screening is at Scotiabank Theatre that week, like I said, on the 25th of May. And you get to see the movie early. How does that sound?
It's dope.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, right?
That's pretty cool. We're giving people the opportunity.
Yeah, we're selling you an opportunity. We're selling you a dream, as you like to say. No, but we're so thankful to be working with our friends at Disney Studios Canada on this. We're all big Bob's Burgers fans here on the show. So we're really happy to be doing this.
I love Bob's Burgers. Yeah.
Who are your favorite characters?
Mine, definitely Tina. And Tina and Linda are probably my two that I'd say I go to the most. I something about Linda. Just also the fact that they're voiced by men, which is so funny because they're trying their hardest to be like these raspy women in the show. So it's really good. But they're my two favorites.
Very Kids in the Hall. That's a deep cut, I guess.
That's I guess, yeah.
With the men playing women?
Yeah.
Very true.
They're just it's a really funny show.
What about you, Daniel?
I think Tina. Especially because I just always think of that clip, and I watch it like every so often with just like the driving.
The driving, yeah.
And it's classic. Great one. But yeah, thank you again to our friends at Disney for partnering with us on this opportunity, and hopefully we'll be able to send some big Bob's Burger fans over to the screening.
Does not come with a burger.
No burger. No burgers included.
Burger bets might be included, but no burgers.
That's on us though.
Yeah,
that's on us. We'll deliver on our end.
Yeah.
But let's get into our spoiler discussion of Doctor Strange.
Do we have a spoiler sound? Spoilers.
Why is everything like a high tone? And just high pitched,
but also, why are you using the Pingu theme song?
Yeah, I'm glad you caught up on that. Because Pingu was always yelling, right?
Yeah,
so he was like yelling spoilers. If anything,
maybe he was yelling spoilers. Yeah. Let's get to our spoiler discussion on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'll get to finish the whole title of this film. It's a long title. This is a film that we've been waiting for a very long time, and obviously we've seen a director change happen. We've seen some writing changes happen on this film. But now it's finally out in the world. What was your, I guess, let's first talk about our expectations going into this film. And Shay, I'll get you to start us off. What were you expecting going into this movie?
I think just like anybody, prior to this movie coming out, we were all expecting just a cameo fest. Like every single character that we ever thought of could be in this movie, and it kind of felt like that was the direction they were going in. It wasn't until probably closer to a few weeks where I started to maybe, and I think we all did, start to maybe subvert our expectations of what this movie is, and we kind of had to remind ourselves, no, this at the end of the day, this is a
Doctor Strange movie.
And Wanda, and you're picking up right after like. Is Marvel going to make this a non-stop cameo fest? And at the end of the day, I'm glad they didn't, because it would have taken away from what we kind of saw in this movie.
We heard everyone from Ben Affleck is coming back as Daredevil, Ryan Reynolds is in this as Deadpool,
Hugh Jackman's in this.
Like we were hearing Tom Cruise is in this movie as Superior Iron Man. Like we were hearing everyone anyone who's in Hollywood was in this movie in some capacity.
Pulling it out of their ass.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's all it was, really.
So it was great to see that the movie, it has its cameos. I mean, you have your John Krasinski, you have Patrick Stewart back, Letitia Wright, for example, and I'm forgetting Black Bolt's, the actor's name, for example. Like, all these people kind of come and they do such a great job in the scene that they're in. In Haley Atwell as Captain Carter.
Anson Mount. Yeah, who's also, like, it was funny because Anson Mount is...
right?
Sorry?
Inhumans?
Yeah, he was in Inhumans as Black Bolt, but he's also now currently, Commander Pike in Star Trek, and you had Patrick Stewart, who was also in you had 2 Star Trek captains
very
on
cool.
the Illuminati.
Cool, yeah. But yeah, it was. I'm glad to see that the film didn't double down on all that, because it would have made it less of a film and just more of an event that takes away from the artistry of what a movie can be. And I think a lot of the criticism that Marvel always gets is, it's just flashy stuff for kids, and this movie,
teasing the next thing.
And this movie tried to tell a great story, and I think it did. I think a lot of people's expectations were not met, and that sucks about it. But I love that this movie focused on Wanda. I love this movie was about her arc that we got to see in WandaVision kind of fully realized.
What's interesting too is that I've seen mostly positive reviews for this film.
Yeah.
In terms of just from our our little echo chamber on Twitter, and then even on Rotten Tomatoes and everything, the consensus is it's a good movie. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting though when you see people upset that why didn't this person show up, or why wasn't it Cameo Fest? Well, the movie's called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is only our second multiversal movie that we've had, and when you have to think about in the last 4 months or 5 months, we've had a movie where Tobey Maguire has come back as Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield has come back as Spider-Man, we're seeing Patrick Stewart, we're seeing John Krasinski, which was probably the most fan-casted character. That was weird because I don't want to say fantastic, but I said fantastic character in a really long time, and we got that. Like, this movie has so much fan service in it too. But it's also a Sam Raimi movie, and it's a movie that isn't afraid to be different. And I think people's criticisms of this film feels very in line with, I think, some of the biggest criticisms of Eternals, where people were saying, this doesn't feel like an MCU movie. I'm like, well, why does it have to? It felt very much like an MCU movie. Even Eternals did too. Just because it maybe looks a little different and it didn't follow a traditional formula that we normally see, this movie has an identity, and I think it's for the better for that. And I still think that this movie is setting up what's to come, because we don't know what's going to happen with the multiverse. The multiverse isn't ending here. No, this is just the beginning. This is just scratching the surface.
You have a character now that can traverse through the multiverse, so why would they not utilize that?
Yeah, so we're going to see a lot. There's this movie opens up the door for so many possibilities down the road, and we know what if season 2 is going to be coming, so there's lots to happen, and I want to kind of dissect some of our favorite moments. Anthony, how about you? What was your expectations going to this film?
I think for me, my expectation was that this was the movie that started the next 10 years. I was going into it saying this is because Kevin Feige said it quite a bit, that this movie is going to spearhead the next 10 years of Marvel cinema and Marvel Disney Plus stuff. And that's where my head was at when I got into it. It wasn't about the spoilers and cameos. I try not to go into a movie now with that intention. Who's going to show up? Because I think that just cheapens the film. I'm not here. I don't care if Mr. Fantastic shows up. I'm here for Doctor Strange personally.
Yeah. And you're here for a good movie.
And I'm here for a good movie. I think if you are going into the idea, like into a movie with this expectation that, I expected this person to show and that person to show, I'm like, well, this is not a feature film. You know what I'm saying? This is not like you're taking a song where if
this is a feature.
We're making a movie here. And if the story doesn't need it, then it doesn't need it. Like, why would Deadpool show up? Why would Iron Man show up? Like, why would Tony Stark from Tom Cruise Tony Stark show up? Like, even with the characters of the Illuminati showing up now is just, I think that was too much, because Illuminati really, yes, Doctor Strange is part of the Illuminati, but this Illuminati is not even Earth 616 Illuminati.
Right. And that's the thing where it's like they could have these teases to a grander world, which I like. Yeah. Where it's like, listen, these characters, this what 838 the world?
838.
I think so, yeah.
838, like that universe that they're in has Fantastic Four and X-Men and Inhumans and the Avengers. They all exist in this world. So it's like, we could celebrate that there's a universe that's canon, even though it's in a different universe. It's still canon to the MCU.
Yeah.
That all of the characters that you know from the comics exist together.
Right.
We're going to get there in 616.
Yeah.
But this is like the beginnings of it. But it's also a way of them being able to jump a little bit further in time and be like, hey, listen, here's the Illuminati on screen, and then when it gets to our universe, sure, it'd be great, but you don't have to base a movie, like your expectations of a movie or your enjoyment of a film, whether or not Iron Man shows up or any
superhero. And I get it, like you want this world to be grand and you want all these heroes, but how many times do you write a Spider-Man comic and no Avenger shows up? It's like 2 years and this guy's in New York and no Avenger ever shows up, right? Like it's just, and vice versa. That's sometimes that's good for the character because you build the character. And then you have like these event stories where you would need everyone, like Endgame.
Yeah, of course,
Infinity War, where you need everyone to show up. There's no need for the characters that was rumored to be out there to show up in a Doctor Strange. We already have Wanda, which is...
And most likely they would have been set up just to be killed on screen too. So could you imagine how upset people would have been if all these characters came and they were just killed by Wanda?
Like Wanda just decimated everybody.
And that was another expectation. I didn't know going into this movie that Wanda was going to be the villain.
The Scarlet Terminator, you call her?
Yeah, like I didn't expect her because the last time we left off, she was... WandaVision, she has the Darkhold, she's doing her thing, but like you don't really know the consequences of the Darkhold on her at that time.
Right.
She just seems like she's trying to figure a way how to find her kids.
Right.
But like to get to this point with Doctor Strange, and I don't even know how many months have passed. I don't know if they really refer to like the span between WandaVision and Doctor Strange.
Not so much. There wasn't a huge I don't think there's a big gap.
You're right.
But it's probably within the year.
3 or 4, 6 months, whatever. Yeah. But to understand that all that reading of the Darkhold has corrupted her to the point where she's now become the villain was unexpected. Like I thought they were going to team up to figure out who's the real villain. She would have like confliction between being a Scarlet Witch and also being Wanda herself.
Yeah. This evil figure could give me everything I want if I just give in to
and I thought that's where the confliction was. It was going to be within the movie. No, it really, from the beginning, she's the villain.
Yeah.
She's going to be the villain throughout this whole... And that's a huge... that's an ambitious undertaking for anyone to take a beloved character like Wanda and transition her into a villain.
But it makes sense.
But it does make sense because her character is very... She is a villain in the comics as well at times. Like she can be the heroic person, she can be the kind-hearted person, but she can also be a reality warping person.
Yeah. and that's the thing, we see at the end of WandaVision that, the post-credit scene for WandaVision is her in her little cabin or her house. Yeah. And it's her, astral projecting and reading the Darkhold, and then you hear her kids calling out to her. And people I've seen like people on social media like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense because the ending of WandaVision says that her kids are like out there, but they're calling for her. But in the movie, like they're just in a different universe. I'm like, in my head, I'm taking that as that's the Darkhold corrupting her into like, and corrupting her to want to, go darker and darker because it feels like her kids need her, right?
Or exactly what you're saying. Or it could just be like she's seeing her kids calling out to that Wanda of that universe. Like it doesn't always have to be such a misdirection.
No, and that's the thing, right? Like people either want everything like laid out for them or we'll criticize the movie for laying out things for us, right? There's no like middle ground sometimes.
And it made perfect sense. Like she's clearly being evil in that final scene in WandaVision.
Yeah.
So for her to be evil in, Doctor Strange, it was like, oh yeah, that arc, it makes total sense. Like to me, I was like, that makes sense. Like you go from point A to point B perfectly.
We're continuing on that, and she's been studying the Darkhold, and she's been deep into this dark magic. Then this is kind of where her path's going to lead her, right? And I like that we get that reveal. One of my favorite moments, so we have that New York sequence that feels right out of a Sam
Raimi film,
a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. We just see Doctor Strange go right into the action, which I loved. You see him like flying at the camera.
Yep.
They fight Gargantos, I think
they refer to it as Gargantos. I think it's the other octopus.
Yeah,
which is more of like it really connects to the multiverse because he is on the borderlines of the multiverse.
Right.
Forgot its
But
name.
big octopus with the big eye that
I'll figure
that
out
the
the
eye gets plucked out of, which I think that was the first inkling for a lot of our audiences that, this film's going to start showing a lot more gore than we're used to in an MCU film, right? Because our audience reaction for that both times were like,
Yeah.
when the eye pops, I was like, boop.
Not a big fan of eyes being ripped out.
I know.
But what if it's an alien eye? So does it count? It's
Well,
not a real eye.
Eyes look the same.
was just like that.
See, when it's an alien eye,
Just like in
You know what's
Avengers
funny?
when
Like
the eye gets ripped out.
back in the day,
Oh yeah, Loki doing that.
Todd McFarlane got into shit for having Wolverine stab Juggernaut in the eye, and
Okay.
that's where he left Marvel because they wanted to censor that.
Todd McFarlane, friend of the show.
And he
Yeah.
went to create Image Comics, and that was during
Eyeball
his
ripping comics, yeah.
Spider-Man his Spider-Man run, like his Spider-Man individual.
All eyes being ripped
Yeah.
out.
But it was just like
All
this-
eyes, all the time.
McFarlane was always like really, like, I guess hardcore, and even his imagery could be very hardcore.
Right.
And here we are in a Marvel movie, this fucking pole going through this
Ugh.
eye and then being plucked out.
Yep. Pop.
Not even just stabbed in the eye and left.
No.
And he dies. No, it was pulled out, and it's just like,
So was that his brain as well?
It was also his genitals, We don't know. We don't know what universe.
He's from my
What
universe.
He's from your universe too. But so we see that scene. What I was going for is what I loved so much about that scene following, where they're like, no, that was runes. That's witchcraft, not sorcery. So we go to. It reminded me a lot of like the tee up in Avengers: Infinity War, where it goes from like Earth to New York and then it goes to space. You get
Yeah.
the Guardians.
Yeah.
But we go to Wanda's, Wanda's kind of like, I guess, cottage where she's at. And, Doctor Strange never says the name America Chavez.
No.
Right? So it's like, oh yeah, we could bring the girl here. And then Wanda's like, yeah, why don't you bring America here? And then you just see Doctor Strange. I love the acting that Benedict does here because he literally you just see it on his face where he just slows down. And he's just like looking at Wanda. And she's like, I never said the name of she's like, you never said her name. He's like, I didn't. And then she just like, yep, let me show you the real reality that I'm writing here. And then it was just such a great heel turn for Wanda there. Mm-hmm. And she's like, just know that everything I'm doing is me being reasonable. And then the Kamar-Taj fight. And then Wanda is just terrifying.
Yeah.
And that when she like pops behind that guy and she's like, run. Like I was just like, oh.
it felt very
scary.
like New Mutants, like not New Mutants, No More Mutants. Which
No More
whispered.
Mutants, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Wanda flying. I feel like she's like, it doesn't look natural yet. I don't know why. I don't know if you got the same sense. Like it just
Like
feels
the way
like
she's just like,
yeah, like it's her body position. It just doesn't feel.
I think it's
smooth.
flying in all live action. It has like a weird wire look to it.
Yeah, because it very like even Doctor Strange when he flies, it feels like
Like
because
he's
he
on,
has
like,
this
a
cape.
thing.
Yeah,
and
I
all
think
that.
I think a cape makes a big difference when you're flying.
But I feel like there should be like some sort of like rays coming out of her hand, like something.
I
to
think she
show-
had the hands.
She has
yeah.
like these circle globe
Orbs.
Orbs, yeah.
but like it doesn't feel like she's flying. It just
Yeah.
feels like she's defying gravity and she's
Right.
floating.
Yeah.
There's that's my only.
Yeah, it's a
issue
bad
with-
movie. I agree. You're
No,
right.
no. But I think that's a criticism I 100% agree with, and it's something that I notice a lot of films do with flying characters. We're like, that looks off.
I think we're just used to seeing characters like very horizontal when they're flying, that when
Yeah.
you're vertical and you're like standing flying, it's just kind of like, are you being floated up in the air or
Yeah.
like,
But she
is-
also,
like,
like,
what?
like a
Where's
marionette in a way,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
she also pulls up her arms and her legs go up too, so she almost looks like a spider in the sky.
a spider in the sky?
Floating.
Spider in the
Rather
sky.
just having maybe one leg up and one leg down. Very
Yeah.
What-
slow.
When she takes off towards the moon, like when she that
that's-
looked cool
that
because she was just
looks
like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that looked really
that
cool.
was a good fly.
The
Good flying, good
octopus
flying.
thing is called Shuma Gorath,
Oh wow.
which is a character in Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel vs. Street Fighter. If you ever had it for the PlayStation or PlayStation 2
That's pretty cool. Didn't know that.
or 3.
Interesting.
But yeah, he's more of a multiversal octopus. So that's why
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think it's the other one, but it looks exactly like it.
So we learned that Wanda is the one sending all of these creatures in the different multiverses to find America.
Right.
Because she can't go to those multiverses. She could only control
Use the
demons.
Darkhold, yeah.
They could send the demons to go to
What do
there,
they call it?
right?
It's called sleep.
The dream walking.
Dream walking.
Yeah. But she only learns about the dream walking when she's at.
Yeah, that's after.
Oh, sorry.
The dream walking is in the Darkhold still, but she
Yes.
doesn't do that till
Yeah.
later.
Right.
But yeah, that scene with Wanda attacking Kamar-Taj is pretty amazing. But the scariest part, or the coolest part for me, where we start going real Sam Raimi, is when she actually gets inside of the temple. And you know, she gets trapped in like the mirror dimension, right?
Yeah.
And she starts using like the reflections, and it goes full Sam Raimi where we're getting like these crazy zoom outs of the doors all shutting.
Yeah.
You know, everyone just kind of looking around like what's happening right now.
The first person from the camera view, like like that.
The voyeurism.
Yeah.
It was really scary because
Yeah.
it was like the same kind of angles and shots that he used in like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it went full on The Ring with her coming out of
The gong.
the gong.
all like
just contorted and just like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my lord, like this was like that was like genuinely
Creepy.
scary.
Very creepy.
With her, and then the eyes, like another thing we see the eyes and the reflections a lot.
Yeah.
right.
Really terrifying.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't like again. It's a Sorcerer Supreme. It's Doctor Strange. Like even the world that this guy lives in is strange. It's weird. It's dark. It's twisted.
Right.
So it makes sense to have a lot of this scariness.
Yeah.
In this film, even though it's not like gruesome scariness, it's still like this psychological terror that goes with it.
Yeah,
Because there's this
it's uncomfortable.
there's hauntingness to
Right,
it because
yeah.
she's hunting these characters down.
Right.
They don't know where she's from, and she's like breaking through barriers like this mirror glass, and using it against him.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
It's so cool, and that's the thing. I wanted to ask you guys, like, there's been a lot of discourse, and I hate the word discourse, and I hate discourse. No, we discourse right now.
We discourse.
No, I'm just curious. There's been a lot of discussion online whether this movie should have gotten a higher rating than it did.
It's beyond PG-13.
Yes,
sir?
it's PG-13 in the States. I'm assuming it's PG or 14. What is it? What's here in Canada?
I think it's still just.
It's PG here in Canada
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
Yeah, I think it's PG in
You
Canada.
know, I'm curious. Do you guys think that the rating was appropriate for this film?
100%.
100%. But I think if you bring a 7-year-old or 8-year-old to it, they might be scared. But that doesn't.
But anyone 13 and up should be.
Yeah, you should be going with your parents at that point.
Yeah, it's just PG here in Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's
the
what we said
scary
during our
part-
review. You know, let the kids be scared. Being scared is a good thing for kids to be doing in a
But
film.
see, parents nowadays, they don't want their kids to be scared.
No.
They don't want their kids to like have any type of fear go through them.
Because they bitches.
You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, don't
Other
touch
kids.
this, don't do that, don't jump,
Kids too, if they don't watch.
don't, don't eat that.
Wear
don't-
this bubble suit.
No. Like
That's cement. That's the cat poo. Don't eat it. Eat it, kid. Eat it.
Figure it out.
Don't jump off the roof.
Yeah.
What?
Kids, they're always jumping off roofs,
They are.
trying to like do WWE matches and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I'm
That's
just
what Anthony used to do.
Yeah,
Right?
Anthony's
He used to
challenge.
jump off the
Yeah, there
roof.
used to be a ladder in my grandmother's house. You go all the way up, and then we would jump off. No,
Would you
break
do it
your
now?
arms or legs when you were a kid?
no, because I was smart.
He knew how to land. He
he
had proper training.
He got to land.
But yeah, I never broke my arms or legs. But like, this generation of parents raising their kids,
there's
are
a
so
group. There's a
protective.
group of
It's
them. I don't
just
want to
It's
say
like too sensitive.
We
Yeah.
don't want to generalize.
get
all.
it, but like, let your kid be free because you cage them up so much, that shit is gonna grow with them. Where they're gonna have anxiety when they're fucking 19, 20,
Yeah.
and they can't even do anything because they're so scared to do anything.
Yeah.
We were all
Let
we
them
all
be
watched
free.
it. We all
But,
watched
like,
horror movies
have-
as kids.
100%. My
Yeah.
mom was taking me to fucking rated R movies when I was like 7
I can tell by the language
because she
using.
wanted to
Yeah.
watch film.
Let me see this fucking movie, Mom.
it's your-
Anthony, this is
Hey,
your
Mom,
6th birthday.
She wanted to watch a
Put
movie.
away your cigarette.
You know,
Anthony.
like there's a point where you're still a kid, but you can still enjoy adult things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is not pornography. This is not
No.
gruesome fucking.
No.
It's at the end of the day, this
Horror.
is a Disney Marvel
Yeah.
Studios film. There will never be, unless it's Deadpool. Even then, Deadpool. Like, how many kids went to go see Deadpool?
a lot.
Most of the people went to see the movie were younger kids,
Yeah.
kids who were not 18.
Kids buying tickets for
Well,
other
I
movies.
don't think 7-year-olds were watching Deadpool.
But dude, there's so many young
a lot
kids
of
who love
kids.
Deadpool, which is crazy
I
to
don't
think.
know. Like, are you sure?
Yeah,
I feel
Deadpool
like
was so
Deadpool is
popular
more
with
of like
kids.
a young adult.
Yeah, but
Well, it is. It definitely is. But what Daniel's trying to say is that there was still a lot. Now, maybe they didn't see it in theaters, but now with the access to streaming, who's stopping these kids from wanting to watch that kind of a film, right?
Yeah.
But there is this abundance of children that did watch it. They did watch Deadpool, and they loved Deadpool.
yeah, but I also think like when you watch this film, and same thing we said in our review, if you're a younger kid watching this film, you may leave and be like, hey, I kind of like that feeling of being scared, and I want to try and find something else, maybe from Sam Raimi or maybe from another horror film. Like there are different films that start you on a path of, oh, like I like this film. Maybe I'll like this film too, or maybe I'll like this film as well. Like there's different like gateway films for that. Like we were saying with Batman and Zodiac and Seven and all of those films, right?
I was looking at a wasp. Sorry, I know I was making these big eyes.
I was so scared.
It's a giant wasp.
I was so scared. I'm like, who is it? Wanda?
Multiverse of Madness wasp.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of these films will lead to viewership for other films that like Evil Dead. I don't think a lot of people watch Evil Dead or Darkman or a lot of the Sam Raimi. I think this will open
Drag
up
me to hell.
People back to
Great movie.
Sam Raimi.
Scare the shit out of
world.
me. Yeah.
Because I think Sam Raimi, he's done so many films, but he also hasn't done a lot. Like he's not
in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
He's been quieter.
He's been quieter, but he also has a style and he has a look. And
Yeah.
I think that's where he said he's never done like a dramatic film. It's more of the Sam Raimi film.
Yeah, well, he's done
That baseball one.
the baseball one. He did The Gift in 2000. But they weren't. But
I mean, like
even
something that's Academy Award winning,
Right.
like where he really went into winning, trying to get an award.
there was and I think especially to your point, Anthony, when you think of the last 20 years or so, the majority, like all of Sam Raimi's films have been family friendly because it's been 3 Spider-Man films. Oz, great and powerful, and then Multiverse of Madness.
Green Goblin was scary in Spider-Man.
He was
a scary dude.
Yeah.
When he showed up and when he did all his facial reactions.
Right. But he also has been producing like films like Don't Breathe and Crawl, which are also great horror films that you should definitely watch. But yeah, so Wanda's at Carmitage. She's just, she's just fucking shit up there and just being terrifying. And then she, basically, as she starts to steal like America's power, Strange kind of jumps in with her and they go crashing through a bunch of different multiverses. So we see a bunch of different like places
streets and paint world
and the animation world and
1930s world.
Yeah.
One reminded me of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
There's one
with like the Living Tribunal. Looks like they're watching them.
Yeah.
With the big statues.
Yeah, there was that.
Speaking of which, there's a character in this movie that I'm surprised we didn't see. Maybe it is in the movie, but we might have missed it. The Watcher. I felt like the Watcher would have been an interesting character to kind of have just slightly appear or just in some way in the movie. I thought that would have been cool. But I get why they didn't if they didn't. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're like rewatching the movie someday and in the background you just see his eye or something.
Yeah, like in the clouds type of thing where they did with
just something cool.
What If?
Like just kind of like that.
I feel like this movie is going to be used a lot in What If. Like in terms of just like the new season of What If, I feel like they'll maybe reference it or go to it. But the Watcher is also that character that is not supposed to be. He's doesn't want to interact with people.
That's what I mean. Like just in the background.
Maybe he was somewhere. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe he was.
Like eagle-eyed viewers out there.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Is that the Watcher?
Yeah, that's his voice. Yeah, that's my best.
The Watcher was also put in a predicament at the end of What If where he broke his rules. So we don't even really don't know what the Watcher's doing at this point because I think What If and whatever happened in that series, as well as Loki, really spearheaded, and Spider-Man really spearheaded this multiverse breakup. Because when they go through that tunnel where they, you see the Book of Ashanti, a lot of those tunnels lead to different multiverses.
Yeah,
and they're all broken. It's all destroyed.
Right.
So I think it's because of all this other stuff that happened beforehand.
Yeah, but Kevin Feige I think said on the red carpet too. That Sylvie killing Kang is also a big factor of things going crazy in the multiverse now, right? Because things aren't being, I guess these different timelines aren't being pruned as they were with the TVA.
Yeah.
So Loki season 2 is going to be a big factor, I think, with the multiverse going forward with Kang showing up in Ant-Man Quantumania. Like we are just literally scratching the surface of what's this what the MCU is going to look like in the next few years, because I think Jonathan Majors as Kang is going to be a huge factor. And also when we think of the Illuminati scene, which obviously was probably one of the big sequences in this film that spoilers have been leaking for, we have a Reed Richards who has kids. So Franklin Richards and I'm blanking on the other name of Reed's kids. Reed and Sue's kid.
Bobby.
No, it's not
Bobby Richards.
Nathaniel. No, Nathaniel is the descendant.
It's a girl. Someone's probably yelling it in the radio right now.
You idiots!
How could you guys not know this name?
But I forgot the name of the kid. What did I just
Nathaniel?
say? No, Nathaniel's the other one. Nathaniel's like
Bradley?
the variant of Kang down the road. Franklin Richards is a super powerful being who can create reality and do whatever he wants. So now you have a reality out there who you have a pissed off Franklin who knows that his father is dead.
Franklin the Turtle, by the way.
Franklin Turtle. But that's the thing. Like you have a reality out there where you have Reed Richards.
Valeria, that's her name.
But it's Franklin and Valeria?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a disease.
Wait,
now.
Yeah, malaria.
Malaria.
Yeah, Valeria.
Okay.
Valeria?
Valeria, not malaria.
And also you have a pissed off Sue Storm.
Yeah, you have a pissed off Sue Storm, you have a pissed off Franklin and a pissed off Valeria.
Probably pissed off Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Probably pissed off the
so,
Thing.
So you could probably what if we see a Fantastic Four variant of that universe in What If down the road, now avenging
100%,
Reed.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
There's
could tell
so
these
much
stories
now.
now,
There's so much
and
you
they're
can
all
do.
canon within the MCU, and that's fine. And that's what's so brilliant about the multiverse is that, yeah, it's all canon, baby. That's all canon.
That's why
it's different multiverses.
What if season 2 could be like that
Crazy
thing, you know?
It could be the thing. You're
But
right.
it could also lead to like a lot of confusion because I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Because Marvel movies are mainstream movies, right? Like they're mainstream. That's people go watch it and they enjoy it, but they enjoy it in the simplest ways. And I'm not criticizing people's intelligence, but if you go into like a comic multiverse, it's very confusing. It's so confusing.
It is,
like
yeah.
if you read the new Avengers or Avengers, Matt, I think it's Matt Fraction, who did the Avengers, the new series, or no, Michael something.
The one who, yeah.
I'll find the name, but
Yeah.
the multiverse is on a whole nother level, and there's the universes within our universe that are hidden in a microscopic level.
Yeah, which we'll see in Ant-Man, yeah.
It's so confusing. Like I hate because you don't
Time travel and multiverses.
because there's so many different like opportunities for other characters to then mix in. I get so annoyed because it's just I want more grounded stuff.
Yeah.
Guarantee you the next Avengers film, and I'm putting a burger bet on this. The next Avengers film is going to be Secret Wars.
100%.
There is no and I think the Russos will come back for it. That's
So what do you think about the show then? What do you think the show just going to be teeing that up?
No, the show Secret Invasion.
Oh, the Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. So that's was
My
like
apologies.
the Skrulls
beginning of it, I guess, right?
invading,
Yeah.
right? But like with Secret Wars, is all about different universes colliding and them having to battle.
How far do you see this out?
5
4
years.
years? Okay, 5
Yeah.
years.
So I think we'll see the next Avengers film in 2026.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're live.
I hope we're alive. But yeah, I think that's when we'll see, and then that's when we'll maybe see
That makes
crazy
total sense what you're saying.
crossovers and things like that. But yeah, we get to 838 and they're traveling. We get to see a great scene with Strange and Christine, Christine giving him the watch, which was a nice scene. Then we see how America lost her moms.
Yeah.
Again, the scene, I'm glad, again, for everything that Disney does strange in the world sometimes, I'm no pun intended. I'm glad that they stuck to their guns. They didn't edit the scene out because what a non-offensive scene just to
Yeah.
show a girl with my two moms, and it's like two women standing there, and they didn't cut it. So
I'm glad they didn't cut that because man, you got to be a big bitch to like be offended by that.
yeah, it's just funny that that was a scene with such a scene, and again, it sets up for future stories with America finding her moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get to I guess the strange, like the sanctum of that world, and Mordo comes out.
It was Jonathan Hickman who
That's
wrote
it.
the Avengers, where really they spend a lot of time in the multiverse and
Right.
Illuminati.
Gotcha.
That's a good story to read if you guys want to read it.
Required reading from Anthony.
For sure, if you're into multiverse and you want to know more about this road that we're going down,
Yeah.
100%.
Then from there, yeah, we meet who's the Sorcerer Supreme now, that because the Strange in this universe has died, heroically fighting Thanos. It's Mordo.
Yeah.
When we get to see Mordo show up.
It's an awesome
My
when
brother.
when he shows up, he's like, my brother. And I'm like, something's up here.
He just sounded so much like because he same voice as Scar from The Lion
Oh,
King
yeah.
of 2019. So I'm
Should
like,
tell
God,
you
this
before,
dude
yeah.
sounds just so evil, man.
Yeah.
My brother. I was like, no.
No, it was great. It was great seeing that kind of moment happen because, it added some levity to the situation that we're already kind of dealing with. And then you get into it, and obviously you have your guard up because Mordo, he's still a baddie, He's
a baddie, yeah.
He still got his own agenda there. So he drugs both, Xochitl Gomez and Doctor Strange. I don't know why I gave her.
Call her, but he doesn't
Chavez.
America Chavez.
You know what? Because
Sochi's okay.
It's so fun saying Xochitl Gomez because her name is so cool.
It is an awesome name.
But you pointed out something that I thought was really cool when we were watching it. You know, when America reacts to the tea, she says, "What was in this tea?" And I remember that was from the first Doctor Strange. You pointed that out. When we were watching
some cool callbacks in that scene. Same with we see later with the big cauldron that they have.
Yes,
that Strange doesn't know how to use, but Christine knows how to use.
It looks so much like it reminded me of Constantine. So much.
Oh yeah,
sequence,
I want another Constantine film.
Yeah, I know.
With Keanu Reeves,
directed by Sam Raimi.
That would be
Sam
amazing.
would be a great person. For Constantine. 100%.
But getting back to the oh my god,
Mordo?
I lost my train of yes, Mordo. We don't like he did. When I saw him, I thought, is this the Mordo that we from our Earth, or because we don't really see him, and
we haven't seen him.
Apparently he's this villain, but he's not really a villain because you don't really see him as a villain.
No,
I don't even consider him as a bad guy in this movie because he's just doing what he thinks is best for his world.
Oh, of course, right? And he even says that he's like, Strange, like I know this is right because this is what you would have done, right? So like he's just doing what's right, and then we get brought to what we learned to be the Baxter Foundation.
Yeah,
which again, when they name dropped that, I was just like, oh my god, that was like.
There's a little bit of like
that was like is this like some teeing up something?
And you know what's funny? I thought that would be the extent of it. I thought that would have been like, oh, they're just gonna name drop Baxter Foundation and then we'd move on to another character.
Right.
I didn't think we'd actually still see, because I was still setting my expectations so low for the cameos that I was like, I don't think we're still gonna see a Fantastic Four because they haven't cast that or anything like that.
Right. I just wish so bad that the whole Illuminati plot, again, this movie's making killer at the box office, but even Kevin Feige said, like, they showed too much in the marketing for this film.
Oh my god!
Like, if we didn't see Patrick Stewart, like, sure, show Haley Atwell because we had her in the animated series, but if imagine us getting that reveal later with Patrick Stewart rolling out with the same yellow hover chair, the same green suit that he wears in the animated series, and then like, imagine that. We would have shit ourselves.
I wonder if that was the reshoots, like that was added.
Could have been,
because I was watching an interview with was
it our interview with Sam Raimi?
No, it wasn't Sam Raimi. It was with Elizabeth Olsen. And she's like, I wasn't part of any of the reshoots. And that just, I wonder if she wasn't. I guess she was part of it. She was.
She did kill them all.
Yeah. But so I wonder what was reshot or was redone or added to this film.
I think it could have been some stuff with Christine later on.
You think?
Maybe.
Or Dark Strange? Because I feel like that was the added part of this movie.
But something what I found interesting that I saw people talking about is that the frame rate for the film is different in the A38 universe. So the film rate is 30 frames per second in that world's versus the 24 frames of our worlds.
What?
Yeah,
what?
so that's what I was reading online, that people were saying that it's 30 frames per second.
How can you tell though?
I guess people could see that the frame rate was different.
The frame rate is, but 30 frames would be like news.
Yeah,
I'm just saying what I was reading
like
online.
A live broadcast.
I feel like I didn't pick that up. I feel like we would have noticed it. If,
it would have been
frame rate jumping from cinematic to an iPhone footage, pretty much. You know.
Yeah. No, that's 24 frames.
I'm just saying that's what I was reading people saying online. But if it was the fact,
what's the names?
I will give you SHAYHBAZ.
We'll see it again, but I think, like, for me personally, I didn't see a change. I thought everything was.
I'm going to be looking out for it now.
Look out for it now. Search it up online, see if there's any other word of it. But there was definitely, from what people were saying, that there was like a frame rate change. I'm like, interesting. That's a interesting visual way of distinguishing the universes. But yeah. We get to the Illuminati scene. We see who's on the panel of the Illuminati. It's obviously Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, who throws her shield. I'm like, okay, relax. Like, poor Doctor Strange is down there. She's like,
also, like, how did you even get to this point where you're part of the Illuminati?
Yeah, and what's interesting with that too is that, like, is this the same Peggy Carter? I don't think it's the same Peggy Carter from What If. It's probably different universes because she had a different suit at the end of that one. She had like the Winter Soldier style suit.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
So it could be a different Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
We have Captain Marvel with Lashana Lynch reprising her role, but now we see, like, in this universe, she's the one who had the powers. We see Black Bolt, who we spoke about. Oh God, rest in peace, Black Bolt. And then we get that line, and the smartest man in the world, Reed Richards. And then a portal opens up, a square portal, and in the most dramatic, over the top way, he just like, he's like, what's up, Steven? And it's like John Krasinski, the most like one of the most requested fan castings in years, shows up as Reed Richards. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I guess it was like for me personally, it was okay.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought like when he died was pretty cool.
Yeah, you would like the death
because Marvel. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but I felt like they hired John to be in this role because that's what the internet wanted, or that's what the world wanted. Yeah, and then they killed him.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like all those hype boys that go in to watch these Marvel films that they clap when they see someone like they wanted, and then to be ripped out of their hands is just, it made me a little happy.
Of course, you like when people are sad.
That's not sad. I just like when they're sad. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not sad. I just like when they're sad.
I think that moment was very cool, and I know we touched upon it a little bit when we were all talking about how, you know, the Ultron bots, they were designed, you know, by Reed Richards in this universe, and they were like designed,
were they?
I mean, at least from what we know, but from what we've seen, but at the same time, they didn't have the same arrogance that, you know, Tony brought with his.
But it was the same voice. So was it Ross Marquand who did Red Skull?
Red Skull.
He also did Ultron in What If. So he came back to do the voice of the Ultron Sentry bots.
Oh, very cool.
So in my headcanon too, when you think about everything that would have had to happen in that world, Tony created Ultron as a way to be a protector. So if Ultron went right in that world, maybe Tony actually did retire as Iron Man, right? And maybe with the Ultrons working in that world, that's why Vision wasn't created too. So his Vision.
Tom Cruise was in the movie.
You know what I mean? Tom Cruise could be in there when he was on. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's things where it's like, okay, Vision wasn't created then because Vision was created by Ultron. And if Ultron was successful in this world, then Tony Stark probably would have retired as well. Yeah. Right? So
we never saw Vision from the end of WandaVision appear in this film. Again, I can't think of a spot where it would have made sense to kind of have had him in the movie. But I wonder what that Vision is up to.
He's doing something.
White Vision, right?
White Vision, yeah.
Yeah, the White Vision.
But yeah, that was cool seeing Mr. Fantastic. I think his legs should have came down the portal.
From the portal. That would have been so extra. That would have been even more.
Because they already showed his stretchiness when he appears in front of Wanda. And that was enough for me. Like, I was like, oh, we got the stretch there. We don't just see him always stretching.
Through the portal, just I'm like, who's it going to be? Whose face is it?
No, I would have been like, boing. Like if you're looking at the portal, his head would pop down. And his fingers would be and he would do a little peek.
Is he the smartest man in the world or the silliest man in the world?
A leg would come down and it would be the
listen, I love Mr. Fantastic. I know he's not the most interesting of characters, but I think I'm a big fan of the Fantastic Four as a group. But what I loved what this movie did is that, you know, we learn the real reason why the Doctor Strange of their universe has perished. Yeah, is because he was dreamwalking and he created an incursion that destroyed another universe, right? Trillions of lives. And they're like, we got to kill this guy, right? So after they kill Thanos, we see Thanos' corpse there.
Yeah.
Poor Thanos. And it looks like Doctor Strange killed Thanos on his own.
On Titan as well.
Because the other characters there, I was just like, first of all,
they look fine.
Titan does not look wheelchair accessible for Professor X. So and then they all look like they just kind of came to get him afterwards.
They were running late.
Yeah, and then Black Bolt's just like says sorry, and then
I'm sorry.
Sorry. And
why did they just put him put the sands of Ashanti on this guy as handcuffs and just.
Maybe he was too far gone.
To kill him is so far.
And that's the thing. I think what this movie did well in the short time is that Reed Richards is so smart, which makes him very arrogant. Because then you see him later on when he sees Wanda, he gives away how to kill Black Bolt, right? Like he's just like, Wanda, Black Bolt can destroy you with a whisper from his lips, and she's like, oh, from his mouth, and she's like,
what mouth?
What mouth? Right? So like you could be the smartest man in the world, but you could still be very ignorant and arrogant and dumb that way too.
Yeah.
Smart but dumb.
Yeah. You know, you're smart but dumb.
Everyone's smart but dumb.
You know? Yeah. And again, what a scene that follows.
If you guys destroyed a universe, I wouldn't kill you. Because that universe is...
But the other universe is you is dead though.
That's okay.
But remember, he doesn't have any. He's like America Chavez.
Oh yeah, he only has one. Yeah.
Like if you guys came to me say I was dreamwalking and I caused an incursion, like sure, like that
totally.
doesn't mean
okay, man.
because that universe, at the end of the day, it's just bullshit. Like, it's just, it has no purpose in my life right now. Like, why do I care about
another universe?
Are you going to do that? Are you going to kill this universe? No? Okay, then we're friends.
No.
That's really sweet of you.
You know what I'm saying?
Everyone that says negative things about you, they're wrong.
To go and kill this Doctor Strange, it's sad. Like, these guys were villains of their own universe.
You should cosplay as that Doctor Strange.
Captain America. If Captain America was there, he would never let it happen. 100%.
No.
Peggy Carter.
This is the thing. I think even if, imagine if we had Steve Rogers, he probably would have tried and talked Wanda down.
100%.
We don't have the people that would have been able to help Wanda involved in this in any capacity, right? So like that, and that's what I think made it so interesting, that she's obviously being corrupted by the Darkhold. She wants what she wants, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and you don't have any of the people that she would have relied on in her life to get her there. No Vision, no Steve Rogers, no Black Widow, and no Hawkeye really too, that showed up, right? Who have been the ones that she was with.
And a lot of technology, yes, is Reed Richards, but it's also other people who are part of that world. Like the Sands of Nishanti, it was created by what's her name, Christine.
Yeah.
So Reed Richards is this brainiac but there's also a lot of characters in that world that we don't even have here yet.
Right?
In the 616,
and I think we will.
And the 616 is the Marvel world.
Even from the comics, it's that too.
Yes,
right?
but I think it's the 616 of the Marvel cinematic world, because I don't consider 616 in the comics very similar to this.
No, and that's why I was interested that they actually called it 616. Even Mysterio calls that universe 616, even though he was full of shit and far from home, right?
Yeah, he just pulled it out of his ass.
So from what I understand, I thought like this was going to get a different designation, but they just called it, no, this is like the main 616 is the main universe in the comics and in the movies as well too, right?
Right.
Now, speaking of that, do you guys think that for the Fantastic Four, is John Krasinski going to be Reed Richards in 616?
I don't think so. I think they'd start off with the fresher, younger, because I feel like he's a little older in my eyes.
Well, yeah, he is.
In all of our eyes.
In all of our, I'm trying to be like polite about it as well, in the sense of like he's not old, but he's older than the Reed Richards you'd want introduced in the MCU.
How old is John Krasinski now?
42. I can look it up. I'm guessing an age here. But yeah, I think
I want to say 43.
You're gonna say 43. He is, drum roll please, 42 years old. Yeah, he's 42.
What's his birthday?
October 20th. He's one of us.
So,
October baby.
I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch was also in his late 30s when he was cast as Doctor Strange. Robert Downey Jr. was his late 30s, early 40s.
I think it's still possible. I'm not saying it's impossible.
You could definitely put him in.
It's also a commitment because you also want Reed Richards to be showing up a lot now, right?
Yeah,
you want the Fantastic Four to be part of the Marvel universe going forward
for the next 10 to 15 years at least.
My biggest concern is, how do we put a character like Reed Richards in this universe? Where have you been all this time? If you're the smartest person, you're just not the smartest person over time. Like, Reed he's the smartest person in the world, so where have you been?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be young at this point.
Do you think there is a possibility that he could have been stuck in the quantum realm?
So what, the whole family?
Yes.
But that many years in the quantum realm must have fucked him up.
Because Peyton Reed years ago pitched like a 1960s set Fantastic Four movie to 20th Century. Like, to make, right?
Right.
Not saying that Peyton Reed is going to take over Fantastic Four, but what if they go down that route of just like, like the Fantastic Four were colleagues of Hank Pym in the 60s, and then they were stuck in the quantum realm.
That's where they got their powers.
That's where they got their powers, and now they're coming back to the real world.
Sure, I guess you can do it that way. Why not? Like, it's so easy to put someone in a space. Like, yeah, they were popular in the 60s. Maybe they weren't superheroes yet, but now they are, and then they come back.
Yeah,
I can see that happening.
It's definitely possible.
Definitely possible.
Like, Marvel has a way to, rewrite their own history and still make it believable.
But they also killed him, which is different.
They killed that.
They killed, Reed Richards. So I think the audience is going to get confused on, wait, what? Who died?
I think they'll be fine.
He died. I don't know. I feel like sometimes like it'd be confusing. I get it. But
we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, I think having them there was at least enough of a nod saying, hey,
It's happening.
in the universe, these characters were together at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think giving, the Inhumans another shot there too, saying, yeah, like he's Black Bolt and all the other Inhumans were successful in this universe.
and Kevin Feige has not said that he is Mr. Fantastic of this universe or in the coming movie whenever
Right.
that comes out. So
We'll definitely hear director news. I think the Fantastic Four movie is going to come out in 2024. I think that makes sense because I think they're going to want to keep that like, oh, it's Fantastic Four in 2024.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think that we're going to get director news in the next 3 to 4 months is what I'm predicting. And then it's going to start shooting next year.
and then Emily Blunt would be Sue Storm.
I mean, that's the dream, but who knows if it's gonna happen.
Who would be Johnny Storm?
Chris Evans. He's coming back.
Could you imagine he shows up as like Human Torch in this? Is like
That'd have been very interesting.
like,
if
oh,
they did that.
okay.
He could be a multiversal
You
version
could go.
of him,
You
right?
could go anywhere with the multiverse, and that's why I'm so excited for What If now. Like, What If? I hope What If in season 2 and going forward isn't. It doesn't do what like last season I thought was cool, but you don't need to tell a bigger story
Right.
with What If. It should be one episode like this episode. This is how it ends.
Yeah.
Like you could just end it.
Well, the last two were very big because it transcended just the idea of multiverse.
Right. And that's the thing where it's like you could just have a world where like this ends where there's an episodes that just end very bleak, and that's What If for you, right? Like What If ends on issues where it's like, oh, this is what happens now in this universe because this is what you did or this is what happened, right?
Yeah.
So after Wanda literally turns Black Bolt's head into mush. And strains the spaghetti out of Mr. Fantastic
Pops him
and
like
pops his head
like a little kernel.
like a little pimple, just a little
pinata.
Dr. Scarlet Witch pimple popped her, like just it's awful. And then who does she kill next?
Peggy
She goes Peggy next. Yeah.
Peggy next. Yeah, she literally
chops her in half.
chops her in half with her own shields.
Which got a laugh in the theater, which I was like, oh, that scene come off funny. I hope it didn't.
It kind of did, like
It was campy the way it cut to her, and I think that was the
yeah,
intention.
because
Right?
you think like her character would be smart enough to know or be quick enough to
reflect it
or duck it or jump over it or something.
Love the I could do this all day callback though.
Yes,
Like that was good for Peggy to finally say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then she kills Lashana Lynch's Captain Marvel. Mordo is stuck in the like hanging with the stands of Ashanti, the stands of whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Sands of Ashanti because the Book of Ashanti is the book.
Sorry, it's Nishanti.
Nishanti.
Not-
Nishanti. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's stuck there, and then
They have
poor
their own little battle.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange and Mordo, and then you have
poor Patrick Stewart.
full Steve Jobs,
Oh,
Patrick
God.
Stewart.
He's just like, just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. One of my favorite lines from Days of Future Past. Decides to go into this is the first time we've seen like the waves coming from his head
Yeah.
too, right?
The waves are really cool. Like
Dude,
it
I
was like
laughed
the
at that point when he's pointing.
When he's like,
He's pointing his finger. It's just,
Yeah.
like, so funny.
it was just cool. It was just cool seeing like the visual thing of that, right?
Yeah.
Same with seeing Spider-Man's Spidey senses in
yes,
No Way Home. But yeah, then he goes into this very white room. It looks like a Mac versus PC commercial. And then we see like the rubble with like, I guess the Wanda that's been
Good.
taken over.
Yeah.
The possessed Wanda.
The possessed Wanda is stuck in the rubble with like a WandaVision TV. And then this red smoke comes, and then
Well,
so long, Xavier.
Snappy.
yeah.
She like
Not
rips
big.
his head off.
And she looks like a demon when she
She was a
does
demon
it.
in that role, yeah.
like super like fang teeth and like sharp nails.
She has a more demonish look in that kill.
And she
And his
snapped
head, yeah.
his neck. She snapped an old man's neck.
So I'm assuming because he went inside of her head,
Yeah.
that was like the corrupted version of her, right?
Yeah.
That was just like, I'm going to like eat this man for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then we have that great fight where they're going to get to the Book of Ashanti, and it's going through all like the different tunnels of the water. And then it goes full Sam Raimi again, where everyone just kind of paused. It goes slow motion with the water droplets coming down, and then wait, and then boom, scares the shit out of us with Wanda sliding in like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of jump scares in this movie.
And people, I remember when that scene was showed off in the trailer, people were like, oh, that's the zombie version
Yeah.
of her from What If. Luckily it wasn't, because that wouldn't have made sense in this
Yeah,
scenario.
no, it's just angry Wanda.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like you think because the way her body is like
Moving.
and her eyes were red, and it just seemed like she was
Covered
going
blood.
to be a zombie, but it's just possessed Wanda. Which
Right.
I guess it is a zombie in a sense. It's demon controlled.
Yeah.
She's walking. Dream
She's-
walking.
she's dream walking, yeah.
But yeah, that scene scared a lot of people in this theater. I remember the person sitting next to me. She fucking jumped, popcorn and everything. I'm like, hey,
It was good.
you think of it, if you were 7, 6, 8, and you just went to see that, and you see that sequence, you're jumping.
You're jumping. You're
Again,
jumping jelly bean.
I think there are movies that pushed the PG-13 rating even further than Doctor Strange did. I look back at Jurassic World when that came out, and that whole sequence of the girl who the one who's watching the kids, and she gets picked up by the pterodactyl and then thrown into the pit with the mosasaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole sequence was terrifying.
Yeah, but I don't think it was like gruesome though, because you
It
didn't.
felt pretty bad.
But you didn't. But it wasn't anything worse than I think you would have saw in
But that's
Jurassic Park.
But that's
the
what I'm
first Jurassic
saying.
Park, right?
But that's what I'm saying. Like those movies, I feel like, yeah, at least those are PG-13. Even this one still feels PG-13 to me. It didn't feel like it was rated R at all. Yeah, sure, there's some blood, but
Yeah.
I think that's really about it.
No, it's tameable horror.
Yeah.
From there, we get Doctor Strange and America. They're going to the Book of Ashanti. Wanda gets there, rips America, like takes control of America, and then they
Throws her back into
throws her back into the world where like our Wanda's from. And then Doctor Strange and Christine get blown into this other universe where like literally everything is just corroding and
Yeah.
like this universe has ended.
This is like the world from What If now we're seeing, the one from that episode where
Where everything looks like it's
ink.
melting. Yeah.
This is probably the part of the film that I felt the pacing kind of dipped the most.
Yeah.
It got a little slower for me here, and I think that's just because it takes a bit of a slowdown, and then I wish it kind of progressed a little further. But this is probably and if I had to pick a criticism, this is probably the only part of the film where it just slows down a bit. For me.
Yeah, definitely felt the pace slow down here. We have a really cool fight though with the Doctor Strange of this world.
Yeah.
Where they have like this music fight, and you hear like you just hear like these classic, like we hear like classic like Beethoven, Mozart, and Bach like just getting thrown music at each other, which is so cool to see.
Yeah.
I thought it was this visually. I thought like this is such a cool Doctor Strange fight.
And we haven't seen it before.
No, and then he gets so the evil Doctor Strange, who's I guess the holder of the Darkhold in this world, he gets fucking yeeted out the window.
Yeah.
Gets impaled, of course, because
Why not?
brutal death.
Yeah.
Um.
Surprised it wasn't to his eyes.
Yeah. Just stabs through, but then his third eye opens, which is really freaky. And then we see Doctor Strange is like, okay, I got to now get to that universe, and then so he uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk. But there's no Doctor Strange in that world, or is there? Of course, there's the Defender Strange from the earlier film, who's dead, who he buried, that he now takes over a dead body, and he has to fight the demons, which was such a cool sequence, which they were just like
Popping out of his eye.
popping out, like and just like yelling like Doctor Strange. They were like yelling at him like that.
Did you do the voice work for that?
That's what I did. Yeah,
That was good.
and then he's like, nah, fuck it. He makes a fucking cape out of them.
Yeah,
and
that was so cool.
As he traverses to the tower. And then like Wanda calls him a hypocrite, and they fight, and it's like
Yeah,
crazy
I
visuals.
don't know if we talked a lot about that shrine or the mountain so far that they go to.
Oh no, we haven't spoken. Wanda and Wong are there.
Wanda
yeah.
and Wong are there, and then these giant like goblin
Gargoyles.
like kind of like protecting her. Then you see this giant statue of her behind her, kind of like showing the prophecy is being.
That was the
completed here.
original Darkhold. That was turned into a
where
book.
where
yeah.
it was originally. The
Windegard?
ruins.
Yeah.
That's it.
Windegard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was I think a cool sequence. That was kind of occurring.
I'm in my head. I don't know why I was thinking of like Paramount Canada's Wonder Guard.
the deep cut for any of us
Canadians,
Canadians, I guess. But yeah, that the whole sequence is very cool with Zombie Strange now kind of going to fight, but obviously he's breaking the laws of magic really by possessing a dead body. So yeah.
Some really cool stuff there. And then we almost think Wong dies.
Yeah.
Because he gets thrown off. He gets thrown off the mountain.
Yeah.
But he gets anytime somebody falls off a ledge in a mountain, they always land on a little ledge somewhere.
There's a secret ledge.
There's always like a smaller secret ledge that they always fall onto.
Yeah, that they just land perfectly.
But yeah, so Wanda's there, is fighting with Doctor Strange now, and then obviously America, like Doctor Strange is trying to hold her off, but he tells America like, no, like you could do this. Everything that you've done up to this point, is because you've gotten us here.
Yeah.
And we haven't spoken too much about Xochitl Gomez in this either. She was great in this. I really loved her acting in this, and I think she was just so fun to watch.
She was very fun.
And she was very endearing. Like I want to root for her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's this, there's this childlike sensibility with her where you get that she's a teenager, but you also understand that she understands the weight of the power that she has. Like
Right.
She almost had to grow up too quickly.
Yeah, she did.
You really feel that. You really feel that when you're watching this movie.
Definitely that. And then so we have Doctor Strange. I loved Dr. Zombie Strange.
Dr. Zombie.
Dr. Zombie. He just reminded me of like I mentioned to you guys, like it reminded me of Hocus Pocus when they have like the dead body in Hocus Pocus, where it's like there was like a weird, even though he was scary to look at, you're like, oh, but he's a nice guy though. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then America Chavez starts beating the shit out of Wanda, brings her to, first of all, looks like she brings her through hell.
Yes.
And then she brings her to the multiverse, I guess 838, where they're like, yeah, let's let me show you. I'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
And then it's Wanda, who at this point looks so scary because Elizabeth Olsen has these big piercing green eyes with like these black like circles around her eyes.
She hasn't slept in days.
She just looks so like disheveled and scary, and her poor kids are just like, what the fuck? Like, Mom,
what is going on?
yeah. So I'm just curious what the Wanda of that world was thinking.
I think also that's a different year. I don't know if you noticed it, but they talk about like the 2003 Tiger in that.
Yeah.
And also if you look, the consoles in the back are the PS3 and the 360. So I'm wondering what year is it also in that universe.
We don't know. Even though they look more ahead future wise, I mean, it could just be like how they are, right?
Yeah.
It's Wendigore.
Wendigore. Now Windermere.
The sequence where she connects for the first time, she really sees her true self.
Yeah.
And like how her kids were afraid of her, and she goes to her and says they'll be loved. I think it's a really powerful scene because it really shows like Wanda, how corrupted she's become.
Yeah.
Like, even though she tried to steal these kids away from this, and I don't even know like how these kids, were they magic? Were they really born? Like, we don't know.
It seems like the kids of this world could have been real kids, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, they could have been. There's that line that made me laugh so much in the movie where she's like Dr. Strange's like, Wanda, your kids you're made with magic, and she's like, that's all mothers make. Like, that's all kids are made with magic. I'm like, oh, that's just so funny.
It's a good line.
It's a good line. Yeah. But yeah, like that line where she just kind of touches the Scarlet Witch's face, like Wanda, and she's like, know that they'll be loved.
Yeah.
Like, what a great moment.
And what I realized from that scene also is that Wanda has also killed a lot of heroes in her world.
838 Wanda?
838 Wanda.
Oh, yeah.
Even though she's back with her kids, she's back at her home. She just came from
Mom, where's all this blood on you?
the Illuminati. So what's the consequences for her actions? Do we tell that story? Do we go down that route?
There's a lot of places you could go with it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they'll talk to it. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, they know that she was dreamwalking was a thing and that she couldn't control it.
Even though like dreamwalking, yeah, she couldn't control it, but it's still like she's still there. She has her kids. She there's constant like people. The heroes from that world are gonna look at her so differently. They're not gonna like embrace that she was dreamwalking.
No, so
part of
there's definitely consequences that we may see for this Wanda, right? For sure.
Can we talk about the ice cream song?
No,
it was terrible.
If
those are my kids, they're not getting ice cream.
Yeah, but what made me laugh so much about the kids in this world is like, I think back to like some of the stupid shit I did as a kid that like makes like those cringy things that you did. And you're like, oh, why did I do that as a kid?
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, and I got secondhand embarrassment when they started singing. I'm like, kids, shut up. Don't sing this song.
Ice cream
no
at
lips,
all.
kid.
No
lips.
No lips.
It was just a weird. I mean, like I get it. You're absolutely right. It reminds you of like when you're a kid, and I was like,
oh, it's cringe. It's cringe.
Shut up, kid.
But like that sequence could have just been removed. Save some time.
I was just dying of laughter though.
Which is funny because the movie's already pretty short, quote unquote. Like for
206. Yeah. It was just funny though that like when Wanda was like tucking them in night, she's like, you could tuck me in, Mom. I'm like, shut up, man.
Shut up, kid.
Yeah. You didn't want me to tuck you in.
No, it was you could tuck me in too, Mom. Like it's so funny. But yeah, so we have that scene. Wanda, she's realizing the error of her ways, and what does she do? She does what she pulls Dr. Octavius on us, and she's like, I'm like I need to be the one to do it. I'm the only one who can do it, and she basically collapses Wonder Guard. What is it?
Wondergore.
Yeah, Wonderland.
She
Wonderland Mountain.
collapses Canada's Wonderland
Yeah,
And
That's
it
the
reminded me
behemoth.
so much of Sauron's
tower. Yeah,
tower when it
Or
collapsed.
in when they go to Vormir
yeah,
to get the Soul Stone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, she collapses it. We don't see her die, but we do see a big red explosion though.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that little explosion could be her just dipping out of there.
Yeah.
And she also destroys the Darkhold in every single universe.
Yeah. She's not dead.
She's not dead. No, Wanda's not dead. No, I don't think.
I think Wanda will show up but not remember who she is. I think there'll be like this issue with
What the movies have done that before? A lot of movies have done that.
yeah, but I feel like she's not gonna be like
Letty and
I
Fast
know
and Furious.
what I
They're
did.
gonna take a page out of the
Yeah.
Fast and Furious franchise.
She's gonna forget who she is completely.
Yeah,
And
it's possible.
She starts over again.
Yeah,
And
but
then she
but she
starts
still
to
needs to be
remember
held
again.
accountable. Like,
100%.
will she be held accountable?
I think she should.
What's being held accountable for? Like, look like for a character like her, who's like the most powerful being, basically.
I don't know.
Do you think?
But
Do you think
can't
we
let-
see like an Illuminati start in 616 now?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so.
I think Strange.
I think
sees that-
Doctor Strange starts one.
Because Strange is, at the end of the day, as much as you love Strange, he's still arrogant and he's still a hypocrite, right? He still does things that he tells other people not to do. And he may see, like, he was still dabbling with the Darkhold, and that's why we see the third eye open up at the end. And him being so ready to jump into, like, the dark worlds with a dark dimension with Clea.
Clea?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So the movie ends, everything's all kind of nicely tied up. Everything he's
fixes his watch. Yeah.
She goes out for a walk, and then
That's the
Danny
guitar.
Elfman on the guitar,
Yeah.
going crazy, and then all of a sudden, he goes on his knees, starts panicking, having a headache, and then boom, third eye appears.
Third eye blind.
and it cuts.
Third eye blind.
Third eye blind, and then it cuts, and then we get the credits, and then the mid-credit sequence is kind of jarring in my opinion because
He's
now he's walking again normally, and I'm like, oh, but we just ended off on.
Remind me of a Viagra commercial. Like
Just the look of it, yeah. I wish. Ask your doctor if the third eye stays longer than 2 hours. I wish it picked up right from him screaming on the street still, because it felt like a weird jarring jump.
I was like, oh, we're
the way it
fine
ends
now.
is literally the same way that Evil Dead ends, where it's like Bruce Campbell leaving the cabin, and then it's like ah, and then he yells. But I wish at least the second post credit scene either was just Clea in the dark dimension saying like, I gotta go.
Doctor Strange.
I gotta go find Doctor Strange, and she's like looking at a thing and sees him like screaming on the street or something.
Would have been much better.
Or because it's definitely a jarring jump to him being like, yeah, I'm just walking down the street now with my vibe.
With my bag, he's just walking in the huge direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird because it's just like, and then he shows the third eye right when Clea's like, we gotta go.
And he's like,
she opens
she's
up
like, you
the
ready?
dark-
And he's like,
bloop, and I'm like, oh, so we're just okay. That was resolved pretty quickly. Like it just felt like a weird thing to cliffhanger on,
Yeah.
and then solve right away.
Right away,
almost.
yeah.
But it's also like a big cliffhanger. It's a interesting cliffhanger because it leads into there's going to be more Doctor Strange movies,
Yeah.
for sure. But how long are they going to take to be made?
right. We won't see Doctor Strange until 2025, maybe 26.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
But and it's just a long time to remember that end sequence.
Right.
Are they going to tell that story?
Or are they going to do what they did with Mordo and maybe like
We kind of just watch it
Just
away.
like-
Yeah, it just
We'll see.
happened. Like I know that Clea's the
Dark Dimensions daughter of Dormammu? Yeah.
How's that guy? Like even to think, like how's this guy having like children?
How's this guy? This guy takes Viagra for sure.
Dormammu, yeah,
Yeah.
he's fucking.
Third Eye was pretty cool though.
It was cool.
It's cool. But I just
Third Eye always trips me out though, because like it just doesn't look natural, and like even though it looks real, because your forehead is flat,
Yeah,
it's just weird like expressing around it.
and you got wrinkles
there's
on
no
it too.
there's no orbital
No.
in your head.
There's no
for-
concave kind of
Yeah.
look. to
Yeah,
your
so
forehead,
it just
right?
like having a third eye is cool, but like I
don't know
prefer
if
not
I
to
would
have
want
one.
one.
I wouldn't want one. Would you want one, Anthony?
No.
No. Would you want eyes in the back of your head?
No.
But what if nobody could see them though?
Then how could you see through them?
They're magic.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, then
But what do you think he sees out of the third eye?
3D. It's 3D. That's
But like
this is
Doctor Strange has a
3D.
third eye in the comics.
Yeah.
but it's used like as the eye
Is
of
the eye of Agamotto, right?
So it must
Yeah.
have like some sort of
Now he's got 4 eyes? Damn.
No.
Fucking nerd.
Truthfully, yeah. But
Get
like,
glasses for the third eye too.
Yeah, could you, like, what does the glasses look like?
Yeah.
I guess he
Contacts?
can see beyond the world that he's in with that third
maybe he
eye.
sees different dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's Doctor Strange. And then we get we also didn't talk about the Bruce Campbell cameo,
No.
which
Great
we got
Pop-
Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa always gets paid, which is
Yeah.
great.
Great
And then we
sequence.
get like, the callback to the Evil Dead as well, where it's like he has a possessed hand that's like attacking
Punching
him.
him, yeah.
And then at the end of the film, we get that last joke. And then people were upset at our theater. It sounded like people were like, "Oh, like."
But
yeah,
that was such a that
do you
was
want?
such a final Marvel credit scene
there's
moment.
so many of them have been jokes.
They've
too.
always been like, look back at Thor Ragnarok, where it's just
The Grandmaster.
Grandmaster just coming out of the
Oh, hold on, he's
yeah.
what?
But like, yeah, they do that all the time. Where the last
Spider-Man.
one, yeah, Spider-Man,
Avengers, the first Avengers, like
Correct.
was Shawarma, right?
Even Galaxy of the Guardians, where it was
Galaxy of the
Sorry,
Guardians.
the what?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
What universe is this?
Howard the Duck. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
fuck Howard the Duck.
Oh,
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I think that's the worst one because Howard the Duck is just a shitty character all
Yeah,
around.
no, but the fact that it was like it's just for fun, like
Yeah.
it's just, you know what I mean, like
What did you
everything-
want? Like a fucking full movie after?
they want.
yeah. We don't need like a setup for the next thing every couple seconds.
No,
No,
you
I
know?
think if you were paying attention to this film, it is setting you up for the next 10 years because clearly the next 10 years is going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
In a sense, in a good way. I think Kevin is going to plan it in a good way, but it can lead to so many different paths
yeah,
that you don't know where it's going to take you.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I think people are looking for another Endgame event.
they're looking for what are we building towards. You don't have to build towards anything. You could now expand, and I think that's what's the best part of the
Yeah.
MCU now is that when you look at Phase 4 now, we've gotten this is probably our most diverse phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. One, because we've had the shows, and the shows have all kind of done different things. But we also have movies like Eternals. We have an origin stories like Shang-Chi. We have a multiverse movie like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. We have Black Widow that did its own thing that felt more like it was a Phase 1 or Phase 2 movie.
Right.
But like you just have a world that's different and unique, and I think that's what Marvel wants to do now. They want to be able to tell stories that let's not always have to build up to the big thing. Because I think some of the biggest issues with the earlier phases is that a lot of the films and a lot of moments felt like they were building too much to Infinity War and Endgame,
Right.
and somehow they delivered amazing movies in both of them. But now we could just start telling these stories, and then when an opportunity comes for characters to team up, like in Multiverse of Madness or in Spider-Man, you don't have to wait for an Avengers film for these characters to team up anymore. You could tell these stories that are, let's tell a Midnight Sun story where it's like Moon Knight, Blade, Black Knight, Ghost Rider. Like you could tell these stories without having for it always to be an Avengers film now, right?
I think for an Endgame event, which it took how many years? 20 years in the making?
Well, I mean, Endgame was 2019, and then for Iron Man 1 was 2008.
So how many years?
Well,
that's
11 years. No, but I would say even less because it was really the Avengers film that really started to tee up Thanos, right? 7 years. Let's say 7 to 10 years.
And you
right?
think it's going to lead up to Secret Wars?
I think Secret Wars will be the next major Avengers
event.
film. We'll have an Avengers film and it'll be called Secret Wars.
Because there's Secret Invasion that's coming out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And that's a huge event. And that's going to be a TV series.
Yep.
That's probably going to lead into Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But when you involve Secret Wars, you have to have more characters.
Right. But now that we have the multiverse, it's possible, right? We
It is
may
possible.
see all of these characters.
I think like a multiverse incursion, a
yeah.
real incursion.
Avengers Incursion.
I think that's the biggest threat to, we'll see in the modern day Marvel universe to really threaten these characters to the point where it's the same caliber as Thanos, or Galactus. The other two.
Yeah. And I think it's going to lead all to that, and we're going to have a bunch of just characters that we've always wanted to see. This is where we're going to get to see them shine.
I think the most maybe the most removed movie from what the storyline is trying to push forward might be Thor: Love and Thunder, but it also could. I mean, like, it still deals with gods. I'm curious to see where they tie in Moon Knight with all this now, and we're going to be seeing Miss Marvel coming soon. So
Yeah.
there's this is the first time where we're seeing such a broad angle to the start of a phase, really, right? Like it's going everywhere, and I like that. I like that the possibilities are endless and not bottlenecking themselves to go down one single path of like Thanos, Infinity Gauntlet, and from there,
right?
There's room, just like
it's diverse
saying, for Secret Wars to occur, and it makes sense where you're going.
I think, and I said it in our chat, I think Thor turns into like part of the Nova Corp just based on his costume and in recently released pictures. I think and it makes sense because, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, he's with them. Guardians of the Galaxy and Nova Corp are huge. They were together. Like, I was surprised to see him in the first one.
Yeah. And we know there's a Nova movie coming.
And there's a Nova movie. Why couldn't Thor? Thor doesn't have his hammer anymore. And I think Natalie Portman's character,
Jane Foster
will become the new Thor. And Thor will, you know, join another organization or group. Or
as Guardians of the Galaxy, as it was at the end of Endgame, right? There's lots.
He's also the leader of Asgard. Is he not?
No, well, Valkyrie is, right?
Valkyrie.
He gives it to Valkyrie at the end of Endgame.
For New Asgard.
I forgot about
New Asgard,
Valkyrie.
yeah. But we'll see. I mean, as we say, there's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Any other final thoughts on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness before we wrap up our spoiler discussion today?
How long has it been?
It's been about 17 hours, I think, since we started.
We've been talking for a while.
I was like, yeah, guys, it's 30 minutes.
Yeah, we started off this conversation, but like, we'll be 30 minutes in and
Yeah.
out, and then we'll all...
There's just so much to talk about in this movie.
And we didn't even scratch the surface, I feel, still. Like, we got through a lot we need to talk about.
Welcome to part 2 of our discussion. This will be another 3 hours.
18?
Oh,
No,
man.
I think we kind of said all that there is. But what I'm really curious about is, now that the movie's out, what are people thinking about it? And I would love if they wrote it into the show.
Please do.
Talk to us about what's going on.
Leave a comment in the YouTube comment section too.
Yeah.
Like it as well.
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd. There's so many places that you could follow us.
Email.
This would be a fun one too, because everyone will have access to it, like on Disney Plus, like to do a commentary for. Yeah. I feel like we could just like talk about like, oh yeah, here Black Bolt's head and gone. It's gone. It's mush. No, but thank you so much for listening to the Movie Podcast's spoiler discussion of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's a lot of words there. Like I said, please don't forget that you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Discord. And don't forget to write into the show at
hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca.
As always, you can catch a brand new episode of our show every single Monday. This Spoilercast has been our Monday episode this week. And look out throughout the week for our review episodes on all the latest movies and series. There are lots of movies coming. Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Top Gun, Men, and so many more, and we'll have reviews for them all. So don't forget. Anthony, you were just saying something there. Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming very soon. That's another series. Miss Marvel. There's so much to look forward to on the Movie Podcast, so please make sure you subscribe to us wherever you listen to us. And of course, don't forget that we are partnering with our friends at Walt Disney Studios Canada to send you and a friend to see the Bob's Burgers movie early. So check out our Instagram, check out our Twitter, and see how you could enter and win tickets to that. That was this time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.